Alrighty, yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, we're going to be taking on the brand new Re-Destro Climax Battle. So yeah, this is Climax Battle number 4 they have released. Basically it goes Climax Battle Offer 1, Climax Battle Gentle Criminal, Climax Battle Best Genius, which I still haven't done yet, but once that Climax Battle comes back out, I will basically do a video on that one. And then this new one, which is Climax Battle Re-Destro. And I think this is really cool because not only is this like Re-Destro's like introduction to this game, it's also Re-Destro's introduction into other games. So if you guys don't know what Climax Battles are, it's basically where they take a unit in the game and buff them up to become like a super hard raid boss. And then once you beat this, boss, you basically get the unit for free. So that's what I mean by like this is Re-Destro's introduction to Macadamia games. Not only Macadamia Ultra Impact, but like other Macadamia games, because again, he's like a unique character. He's not in any other Macadamia games. You can't play as him in any other Macadamia games. So this is really cool. But if you want to play as Re-Destro, you got to beat this boss, which I know some people have been struggling with because this is a really hard climax battle. Like, it's really, really difficult. So hopefully this video will help you guys out. I think I assembled a pretty cool team that a lot of people can get right now. And also, a lot of these characters, if you don't have them, are interchangeable with like a lot of other characters people have been using. So hopefully this team will help you guys gain the ability to play as Re-Destro. So let's get into this battle. So here is the team I used to beat Re-Destro. As you can see, there are a lot of like different characters in here, a lot of SR characters in here, along with some UR characters. So I'll explain later in this video why this team is pretty good and the reason why I think this one will be hopefully really beneficial for a lot of people to use. So yeah, let's get into this battle. Already, there is his intro, which is pretty cool. And at the start of the battle, he says, "Take my stress beyond limits, see if you can take it all." Now, I believe Deku and Shigaraki have responses to Re-Destro. I'm not 100% sure if specific Dekus and like specific Shigarakis have responses to him. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if any of them do, or if any other characters have special dialogue with him. But yeah, now with the battle underway, let's talk about the strategy I used to defeat Re-Destro. So when it comes to this climax battle, you basically want to have a higher defense than Re-Destro. So having characters that raise defense is important. Something to note real quick is you can't lower Re-Destro's defense normally. I think the one unit that can do that is All For One Shigaraki, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, basically, normally you can't lower his defense. So raising your defense is important because if you don't, then every time you attack him with a character with lower defense, he will gain stress. Now you may be asking, what is stress? So in a nutshell, what is stress is the more stress he has, the more buffs he will gain, which most buffs on their own are usually pretty manageable, but the main reason why you want to make sure he doesn't gain stress is because of one buff in particular, which is Last Stand. When his stress count is 10 or over, he'll basically have a Last Stand until you get him below 10 stress. So if his stress count is over 10 or at 10, then he won't die, which is why it's important not to get stress count too high or basically become unkillable. Now, when it comes to stress, Re-Destro will gain it in a few different ways. The first way is every turn he will gain 1 additional stress at the end of the turn, so naturally he'll just gain stress over time. The second way is when you attack him with a character that has lower defense than him. So this is why it's important to have more defense than Re-Destro, because every time you attack him with a character with lower defense than him, he will gain 3 additional stress every time that character attacks. And then the third way is when Getten and Curious die. So obviously, you know, he has Getten and Curious in this battle, which is pretty neat, but they can be pretty annoying. One thing that's annoying is when they die, he will gain 4 stress for a total of 8 stress once they both are dead. So once Getten goes down, he'll gain 4 stress. Once Curious goes down, he'll gain another 4 stress. So yeah, that's how he gains stress. Now you may be saying, okay, I understand how he gains stress, but how does he lose it? So the main way Re-Destro loses stress is when he attacks with either skills or plus ultra attack during the final phase. Every time he attacks with his skills, he loses 3 stress, and every time he attacks with his plus ultra, he loses 8 stress. On top of that, at the end of every turn during the final phase, he will lose 4 stress naturally. So he won't lose stress during the first 3 phases, he will only lose stress during the final phase, which is important to note. Now that you understand his gimmick, let's talk about the first phase. So for the first phase, you solely want to do damage to Re-Destro and get him to the second phase as soon as possible, because if you wait too long, then he'll do a plus ultra move, which will deal tons of damage to your team. So you want to get him out of the first phase as soon as possible to avoid that. Also, from my experience, I've noticed that sometimes the other characters during that first phase won't take any damage for a while. Like during some of my runs, I'll try to attack Getten to get some cheeky damage on him, but he won't take any damage for a while. So I feel like this just further proves to solely attack Re-Destro during that first phase to get him out of that phase as soon as possible. The second phase will begin around 957,120. At the start of that phase, he will say, "Even fear gives me more power. Can you take this power?" Now during this phase, at the start of it, you want to kill Getten and then kill Curious. And the reason why you want to do that is because not only will they give you debuffs in speed and defense, but they can also give you frostbite, freeze, and stun you, which is really bad, especially for this team. For this team to be successful, you basically want to make sure that Yukata Kirishima, Fantasy Uraraka, and Raid Best Genius are still alive by the end of the second phase. The best way to make sure you get there is by making sure they attack with their skills and plus ultras every turn. You basically want to avoid any dead turns where you only hit them with your normal attacks, but some runs I have done, you can actually get away with 1 or maybe 2 dead turns and be fine, but at the end of the day you still want to avoid these dead turns as much as possible, which is why getting rid of Getten and Curious is important. Go after Getten first because he can not only freeze you, but also give you frostbite, which can mess up your combo chains. So you have 2 things right there that can mess up your combo chains. So that's why you want to go after Getten first. And then go after Curious because she has a chance of stunning you, which again can mess up your combo chains. But that's only 1 thing compared to 2. So that's why you go after Getten first and then Curious. The best combo route I found for this team is basically 1 turn you do the top skills from right to left. Then the next turn you do the bottom skills from left to right. And then do your plus ultra the turn after that, and then just rinse and repeat those combos. Hope you don't get too many dead turns, and then you should make it to the end of the second phase with all 3 characters still alive. Also, something else to watch out for is don't use any moves with piercing shot, because if you do, Getten will give his allies barriers, and Curious will give her allies evasion. So try not to hit any moves with piercing shot, because again, that could just make it even harder for you to beat this boss. Now, when it comes to this team, it's important to note that this team won't work 100% of the time, due to there always being a chance that you can get frostbite, frozen, or stunned, which is why when it comes to this team, you really need to be lucky as well. But I feel like the reason why this team is still good is because a lot of these characters are currently accessible. And that's why I like this team, because, you know, it will help you at least get Re-Destro, and then, you know, obviously while it won't work 100% of the time, it will still help you beat him, you know, every so often, so you can even also start working on him. But the reason why I'm showcasing this team is because not only is this the team I use to beat him, but also, you know, hopefully a lot of you have these characters or can get these characters because they're currently accessible, so you can at least get Re-Destro. So let me explain why I think these characters are good. So right now in the banners, you have a chance to summon for Fantasy Uraraka and Fantasy Kirishima due to their banners being out right now. So you have a chance of getting them, which is why I say they're currently accessible. Yukata Kirishima was free during the event he was released in. And on top of that, if you missed that event, you can still get him for free if you complete the second case file. So you should be able to still get him right now. So that's why he's good. And then Red SR Kirishima is, well, an SR character. I've pulled him over 10 times. So he isn't the hardest character to obtain, but you technically do have to summon for him. But again, he's an SR character, so he shouldn't be the most difficult character to come by. And then when it comes to Raid Best Genius, he was a free UR you can earn during the Best Genius Climax Battle. So I feel like this character is probably going to be like the hardest because he is the only one who isn't currently accessible, which I know some people may not have been able to beat him or didn't get the chance to do that Climax Battle yet. But you can technically replace him along with any of these units with other units that, you know, other people have been using. Like, I know people have been using Celebration Deku, Battle Damage Mr. Compress, All for One Shigaraki, and I believe the new Swimsuit Hado is good as well. But basically, any of those units that I just said are extremely good for this Climax Battle and are interchangeable with any of these characters that I'm using. So yeah, now moving on to phase 3. This phase starts around 478,560, and he says, release not restraint, my mission is to embody freedom. At the start of this phase, he will use a skill that will blow away your current team and swap in the sub-characters. So basically after this happens, just continue to do damage to him. And when it comes to combos, you can kind of just freestyle it to my knowledge. Like, I haven't really had any issue where I had to use a specific combo route. I could kind of just freestyle this. But just make sure you pay attention to the skills you use and make sure you don't miss any key phrasing in the skill descriptions, like used in a successfully executed skill chain and stuff like that. Now, once that's done, we can move on to the final phase, which is phase 4. And this phase starts at around 179,460. And he says, all should be free to use meta powers. I will complete Destro's legacy. During this phase, you basically want to get him to 1 HP and survive long enough for him to deplete his stress until he's below 10 and finish him off. If you notice one of your units having lower defense than him and in turn is giving him more stress, avoid using any skills with that unit so you don't give him more stress than necessary. But other than that, you should be able to finish him off and beat this climax battle, and that's basically how I beat it. But yeah, those are pretty much all the tips I have for this climax battle. I'm probably just gonna let the gameplay ride out now so you guys can at least, you know, visually see what I did, so that way if you want to copy anything I did, you can just copy it. But yeah, that's pretty much all the tips I have for you. I guess one more tip I can provide is if you have to slow down the speed to hit those counters, do it. You know, you see me do that throughout the video because, you know, sometimes when the counters come up and you have it on the 3 times speed, it's super hard to hit. There's like a couple of seconds before it just disappears. So, you know, make sure if you can't hit them normally, just slow down the speed, and then you'll hopefully be able to hit them easier, because it's really important, mainly because you want to build up those plus ultra meters from the skill chains, because you want to make sure you use it as much as possible. You don't want to have any dead turns. So, you know, if you have to slow down the speed to make sure you can hit those skill chains, so you can get the plus ultra meter, you know, just do it. It's not the end of the world. This climax battle is a very long one. Like, it's going to take you a while to just complete one battle. So, you know, might as well do it correctly rather than try to speed through it and then mess up and then have to restart. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's probably the last tip I can give you. So now I'm just going to let the gameplay ride out, and I'll see you at the end of the battle. And there you have it, we beat Re-Destro. Now let's take a look at the unit you get for beating this climax battle. So like I said before, this is the first time Re-Destro has been available in a global My Academia game, which makes him a unique character, which is really cool, because again, he's currently not playable in any other My Academia game. He's not playable in 1 Justice 2, he's not playable in The Strongest Hero. So yeah, that makes him a unique character, which is really cool. He technically has been released before in Ultra Impact as an SR unit in Japan, but, you know, obviously they haven't released that SR unit yet, so this is technically the first time he has been released globally, which is really cool. And it's cool that he is a UR unit. I like his artwork. I like how it's in his like 100% stress form, and he's using his ultimate attack burden, which is really cool. And yeah, there are his stats. As you can see, I have him awakened. One tip I could probably say is I would go for his orbs first, so you can at least get him awakened, and then try to at least get 10 pieces for him, so you can unlock the first piece on the piece route, so you can get his skill, and then anything after that, you know, obviously will benefit him greatly. So, you know, obviously try to grind for all the other stuff, but those are like the two things I would focus on first: getting his orb so you can awaken him, and then going for at least 10 pieces so you can get his skill. And as you can see, I have him maxed out in the level department, but not in the advanced leveling department yet, because I actually ran out of advanced leveling supplies, because I've been using that on a lot of these other characters so I can actually beat him. So once I have that, I'll obviously max him out in the advanced leveling department. But yeah, that is the Re-Destro Climax Battle. Like I said, I think this one is pretty cool, but I would say this is probably the most difficult Climax Battle, mainly because of the gimmick with like defense and stuff like that. But while this Climax Battle is pretty difficult, I still think it's pretty fun, and it rewards you with a pretty unique character. So overall, I think it's great, just like all the other Climax Battles. And I hope this video helps you guys out, hopefully obtaining Re-Destro, because again, I know this one is pretty difficult, because I know defense is such a hard thing to, you know, kind of do, because not a lot of characters have that ability. It's like only a small handful of characters, and obviously you may not have them worked on and stuff like that. But I think that's one of the main joys of why Climax Battle is super fun, because it makes you use other characters you normally don't use. But yeah, that is the Re-Destro Climax Battle. Again, I hope this video helped you guys out to at least obtain Re-Destro. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. That'd be really amazing. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Later.